into a residential district, it would appear, coming off that main street onto a side street. Typically you would see houses there, and we do, houses and apartments and cars lining the street, stop signs, again, blowing through at every opportunity, it would appear. Now he's on Monte Vista Street. If you, again, a word going out to people living in this area that there is a suspect on the loose right now being pursued by law enforcement. It is unknown what sort of offense he may have committed prior to this chase being engaged, and so he should be considered dangerous. He should be considered, for all intents and purposes, armed until determined otherwise. So you are advised to keep your doors and windows locked. Turn on your exterior lights. Great advice from our JT Alpaw in case he starts running through your front or backyard. But stay indoors by all means. And now that this pursuit is on abc7.com, you're welcome to watch it here and watch along with us to see what happens here and what danger this person could present.
Mark, in the Highland Park area now, the residential is a Highland Park in and around Avenue 37, Avenue 41, Figueroa, that area there, again, for all the residents that live in this area where they can hear us, that's obviously good advice. Just stay inside, keep your doors and windows closed in case this terminates in your neighborhood.
All right, he's on Marmion Way near Museum Drive, and you're seeing those speeds up there. They're getting pretty high for a surface street, but this might be a good place to do a pit if they could get him to slow down a little bit, and if there is no cross traffic or other residential houses along the way here. He is, at the moment, he's driving fast, but not erratically, at least right now. He has been erratic that we have seen in terms of driving on the wrong side of the road, making some really hazardous turns, and of course blowing through all these stoplights and red lights. This is a red vehicle that has been pursued through much of the eastern Los Angeles area for the better part now of 45 minutes or so. By first the LA County Sheriff's Department, then the Highway Patrol. We're not sure at this point who the pursuing agency is immediately behind him, whether they have backed off at all again, as they did earlier, or whether they are continuing to stay fairly close up behind him. Our shot is at a wideness right now where it is not, oh, there it is. Okay, so now we've got what appears to be a CHP vehicle, and will they try to do a pit? Not yet. This is a residential area, and there's a turn coming up, and these are very narrow streets, the kind of streets where if somebody's coming in the other direction, it might be a little hard to get by. This is Isabel Street from Glen Albin, or near Jeffries Avenue and Locust Street.
Yeah, this is up in LAPD Northeast Division's area that continue north. We'll get into maybe South Pasadena if they're going further east. But CHP is still staying with this pursuit. I'm sure LAPD is monitoring very, very closely. We understand there may be at least 2 law enforcement helicopters overhead, plus the media aircraft, including Air 7 HD. So watching this very carefully as the suspect runs, he's going to have lots of eyes on him, and he'll be taken into custody. Difficult to see if there's a passenger. We did see what appeared to be maybe something floating around on that passenger side, but that could be the reflection of the black and white immediately behind the suspect. But yeah, he's picking these speeds up, going through these stop signs like they're not even there. Very narrow streets, as you mentioned, Mark. Very dangerous driving here. Again, a good idea if you're deciding to take that dog out for a midnight walk. Try to stay inside here if you can. Botting him out again, as you saw those sparks as he went through that intersection with the dip.
Right, and you see this the CHP, this law enforcement vehicle here, directly behind him and pressing him. It does look like they're looking for a place where they can do the pit, and it's just so difficult because right now, with all these other vehicles along the side of the road and the potential for him to run into someone's backyard, you really don't want to do it here. Excuse me, but you know, so they may be content to see if the vehicle runs out of gas or if he just decides to give up. But look how close he's getting there. He's getting very close. Speed still under 50 miles an hour. He's about 44 miles an hour right now on Isabel Street, around Elm Street in Los Angeles. But you see now these speeds are still too high for the terrain. He's going too fast for the street that he's on. There's speed bumps on there that are meant to keep the speeds down. He's bottoming out as he goes over those. And he is running through stop signs, and there's another car. There's another vehicle right in front of him. This is what I was talking about. The streets are so narrow that he may not be able to pass. So he's kind of stuck right now unless this person pulls over and they are moving out of the way. Now and
you see every time the CHP officers get a little bit close to that suspect, and except in this case when the car's in front of him, he really tries to push away and goes faster. So the CHP getting in a position where it looks like they might be trying to do a pit maneuver, and then that suspect really tries to get that distance between him and the CHP officers as it continues still going up Isabel Street here in Highland Park.
As it was explained to me by our car specialist, Dave Coons, that there is something about when you spin the car out, it's actually a safety mechanism that's been built into cars in the last so many years, that there are sensors in the vehicle that can detect when it's spinning and it's outside of the performance parameters for the vehicle, and they believe, or they can detect and determine that it appears an accident either has happened or is about to happen, and the fuel gets shut off. And that was what it was explained to me, was what the effectiveness of the pit maneuver is or can be, at least on some vehicles, that it'll actually cause the fuel to shut off in the car, and then once the pit maneuver is done, if it's done successfully at the right speed, the pursuit is essentially over. The car can't go anywhere. But we have certainly seen multiple pits on the same vehicle during a pursuit. So it doesn't always work the way that, in that particular way, but anything that kind of impedes the progress is something they're going to be able to try. Spike strip certainly doesn't seem to be something they can work with in this case, does it?
Yeah, well, not necessarily in this case. It could be if he starts getting into that pattern where it's predictable, and he goes back to those areas here as we continue through Cypress Park on San Fernando Road. It could be a possibility that they could lay out a spike strip, but we haven't seen that yet here as it continues. But what Dave was talking about is inertia measurement units. Well, actually, on the newer cars, as you mentioned, disable that car as it spins out. Some of the older cars won't do that. So part of the pit maneuver is getting that second black and white in there after the primary unit spins the car. The secondary and third unit in the pursuit will block that suspect in, and they'll trap him.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, now he's going in the mid-50s on this street. This is Avenue 26. He is heading in a southeasterly direction, and he is going through a green. No, that's a red light. He just ran a red light there, and so far he's been very lucky. He has been very lucky, and so have been whoever the people that he has come across have been very lucky in that he hasn't run into anyone yet in terms of the cross traffic that is there. Now it looks like he's about to get on the freeway. Avenue 26.
Glassell Park here, and one of the things we should mention is that the suspect doesn't have the luxury of a law enforcement aircraft in the area to clear the intersection. You can be sure that law enforcement aircraft, when they see that intersection of cross traffic, they let those pursuing units know the cross traffic's coming and not to come into that area.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now he's on the southbound Interstate 5 in Angelino Heights, and heading what I believe would be back towards downtown Los Angeles, if I'm not mistaken. And at the speeds are not crazy, between 60 and 75 miles an hour thus far. CHP back on their turf, essentially. They followed him around for quite a while on those surface streets, and now they're back on the highway. And you see now the number of vehicles that are in pursuit. There are 3, by my count, vehicles that are in direct pursuit of this red compact, and along with law enforcement helicopters in the air, and of course our own Air 7 with its SkyMap 7 technology and the extreme vision, which allows for a very close-up shot of the individuals and the scene as well in high definition. So we're going to use that as needed to kind of keep track and bring you inside to this pursuit to let you know exactly what's going on. But now I-5 south, heading towards, I believe, downtown LA. If I've got my bearings, it's hard to tell in the middle of the night, but there he goes.
Heading back towards the area where Mission Boulevard, right back where LA County USC Medical Center is, back towards the 10 freeway, maybe moving back towards the 60 right now. So it's going back to that area again for this third, maybe fourth time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so yeah, heading toward right, East LA, Boyle Heights area, that area near Cesar Chavez right now, approaching the 10. So yeah, that whole part of town, which on a typical afternoon, of course, on this stretch of road would be pretty much crushed right now, full of traffic. But at 11:52 at night, it is clear sailing, which is good news really for everybody involved. Because you don't want to see an accident, you don't want to see anything happening with him intersecting other vehicles. And so what we're seeing here is a continuing effort by this suspect to flee from police, to try to get away, again on the freeway after being on surface streets for quite a while.
There has been a rash of pursuits, Mark, here in the past week, and so many. I can't remember when there's been this many in this short a period of time. And not really sure why that is. They do happen in clusters, but it just seems that there's been a lot of pursuits lately, and not one of them's got away. So, again, he's just delaying being in handcuffs. Sooner or later, they will get him. Can't outrun the helicopter or a Motorola radio. So this continues on, and we often wonder, what are suspects thinking? I get that asked more than any other question. What are they thinking? And every suspect that I've actually spoken with after a pursuit has said, well, I just needed a few extra minutes out of handcuffs. But they don't realize the danger they're putting the public in when they do that, and if, God forbid, they hurt someone or kill someone, they're adding on quite a bit of time to their sentences.
Right, that's the thing they aren't really thinking about is the kind of trouble that they could potentially get in with every second that this pursuit continues. They're right. For right now, this guy's not in handcuffs. He's free. He's listening to the radio. He might be. Who knows what else he's doing in there? But at any moment, this could turn in a direction that he may not have anticipated, and suddenly he's looking at a much longer prison sentence. I mean, people have been killed in pursuits. People have been badly injured in pursuits. Police officers have lost their lives during pursuits, and suspects as well. So this is the kind of thing that could, in an instant, take a turn that is deadly, and certainly something that they may not have not be bargaining for. I mean, maybe that's kind of why they're involved in criminality in the first place. They're not necessarily the best thinkers in terms of planning ahead or thinking about the consequences of what they do, hence this sort of activity to begin with. As he's on the 60 freeway now, and it looks like he's getting off the freeway at, is it Valley Boulevard? So this is a very similar area where he's been for much of the evening.
Yeah, moving back towards, my guess would be he's going to go northbound back to that area, which is the 10 and Valley, which is where he was before. We'll see if he does that, because that's the area that he keeps circling back to. But yeah, these speeds, at least manageable speeds right now. Well, it's obviously safer on the highways where he's not going through those mid-phase red tri-lights or those stop signs. More manageable and safer for everybody on the highway. But yeah, suspect's going to continue on here on the side streets. We'll see if they get a pit maneuver in.
Yeah, this would have been a good place for it, too. This is a wide street, not much on either side of it that I can see. And it looked like that officer was close to doing it when he made that turn, but couldn't quite get there. And they're squeezing now in between those two vehicles, going through that intersection at 3rd Street and Eastern, and continuing now at above 50 miles an hour, 3rd Street still, heading in an easterly direction now, heading, I believe, back to the neighborhood that he was circling for so much of the evening.
Yeah, in the county area right now, back in the L.A. County Sheriff's East L.A. area as they move eastbound. But you saw that suspect get up back on the heels of that suspect. Now the speed's really picking up again, right through that mid-phase red, 70-plus miles an hour. Black and white has really gone back. And look at it, and we've seen those photo lights.
Oh,
those,
he crashed. All right, he has crashed now. He is center. Okay, he's doing a foot bail now. He is trying to get away now. He threw off his jacket. This is Mednick Avenue and 3rd. You see the suspect there. He's got on dark blue pants, light blue shirt, long sleeve, and there he is now with other officers now in pursuit. He is foot bailing, and he's run. Ooh, that was a nice open field tackle by one of the pursuing CHP officers who came around that corner and caught the guy straight on. Looked like a linebacker. looked like a linebacker, took the guy down. He is now down, and you see now what appear to be 4 California Highway Patrol officers who are now subduing this individual. We have seen no blows struck against him. What we are seeing is that they swarmed him and immediately handcuffed him. He is handcuffed and down, but that was quite... I'm trying not to laugh here because it was it surprised everybody, I think, and especially surprised him. He was running around through that parking lot, about to take a turn around that building, and he was met square right in the face by a CHP officer who took him down like a sack of potatoes. He is down on the ground now. They're going to bring him up. They've got him handcuffed, and he is now in custody.
And Mark, that's what happens when you have airborne law enforcement overhead. They're able to do a play-by-play, just like we're seeing in Air 7 HD, of that suspect running, getting around buildings, and they can direct officers that may be running to one location to go the opposite direction and intercept that suspect and actually take him out like you saw. An excellent tackle there by that officer, and an excellent swarm technique where every one of those CHP officers took a limb, took a leg, locked him down to that pavement, and got him cuffed in a hurry.
Wow. Well, that was quite a takedown. Now, we don't know whether what happened as far as the other occupant of that vehicle, if in fact there was.
Well, we saw the CHP actually, Mark, and another shot clear that car. And it did not appear that there were any passengers in the car when they cleared it. It's uncertain. If another suspect ran from the car, because we were watching the driver, which is where we watch after that driver got stuck on that center median, but we believe there was only one suspect. We did not see any other suspects run, and that suspect's in custody.
Okay, well, we are seeing that now. It has come to an end. This all, it kind of came to an end when the suspect lost control of that car. If we could use the Sky Map 7, I lost track of what street this was on, but he kind of got, I forget the term, but where high-centered, I believe he was, on the median of that road. The wheels couldn't get traction anymore. He was stuck. And he foot-bailed and ran basically around the block. He ditched his jacket, tried to run, but again ran into a CHP officer on foot, head-on, who took him down like an open-field tackle. And that pursuit is over in the East Los Angeles area. We thank you very much for clicking with us. JT Alpaugh, Mark Brown.